Okay. Welcome to Doc Magazine. This is September 11th, 2021. And this issue I have coming up is with Shihan Sean Pack, the godson of Dr. Moses Powell. Welcome to Doc Magazine. This is September 11th, 2021. The godson of this issue, the godson of Dr. Moses Powell. This is a live interview. We're streaming live through YouTube. The title of this show, of this podcast, is Streetology. And we're going to go into the realities of Sanuces rule. And we're going to go into the realities of Sanuces rule as it relates to the streets. And we're going to take a walk through the journey with Shihan Sean Pack as he tells us his story with his godfather, Dr. Moses Powell. So without any further ado, I'd like to bring on my guest, Shihan Pack. Us, you're on the air, sir.
Us, brother, eye to eye.
Heart to heart.
Spirit to spirit.
So how you doing, brother?
I'm okay, man. I'm trying to relax on this Saturday and eat some good food. But I'm here to pay homage to the man I love as my father. Now, we say God's son, but really, Doc corrected me one time. One time I said something. He said, no, you're my son. And he introduced me to people as his son, as well as, Grandmaster Bill McLeod and certain people, they can verify these things for me. I've called Doc Dad for over 30 years, and the man is awesome and powerful. No matter how many times I've been around him, it's just like everything was new. Every time I was away from him and I reconnected and I came to see him, I came to stay with him. I can't even count how many times in a month. I was there for him for every surgery and help him recuperate. I was massaging and do different things from the people for the physical therapists from my injuries. And Gina, Mama Jenny said, look at you two. You know, Doc will stand behind him and be rubbing and touching him. And I would pull his fingers and prepare him for certain seminars and different things he was going to do. He was really so bad, man.
So what I'm gonna do now, Shihan, is I'm gonna start because I have a list of questions. So I'm gonna start from the beginning. So take us from the beginning, and tell us about where he was born, his Caribbean roots. Let's kind of start from that. Brooklyn, Harlem. Let's start there.
Well, he traveled back and forth from Harlem and Brooklyn from with his mother and father. Doc was born in Barbados. His father was a merchant marine. People asked if he was born in 1921 in Norfolk, Virginia. No, his mother ended up dying there, but he wasn't born in Virginia. He was born in Barbados. His father was a merchant marine, and it was one of his father's friends that was teaching martial arts was showing him some stuff one time he came in, and Doc was like, oh, man, And he was fascinated with it. So in Doc's own words, I have video when we get a chance. He said, I went out and found Mr. B because I thought I was stuff. He said, I know I could thought about the mix, And Doc was up in Harlem, in Columbia Projects and all that, gang fighting and doing all kinds of stuff. But a lot of people don't know, Doc's name ring bells in the street. The man was, and still ain't no joke, even in the spirit realm, he's no joke to us. The real ones of us, not the ones that just get on and do tournament stuff. I'm talking about the ones of us that everything he said, okay, this person's good. As far as the martial arts thing. But when it comes to he's real. And he's a streetologist. Yes, he is. Black, oh my God, he reminded me that. If you ever seen this man on tape, you ever seen a special man black, he looked like that, and he moved like him. You see this giant man moving like a jungle cat. Oh my gosh. And it was us. And we kept coming up there. We was the originating ones coming there until everybody else started coming. Yeah. And I even went to stay at Shabazz. They had a cabin up in Vermont where Dad was staying. I stayed at his house a couple of times in the cabin until Dad got the house a few houses down the road. But hey, I'll say some stuff maybe some people don't like. We have to congratulate, thank Muhammad Shabazz for having Dad come up there that may have extended some years to his life, and having Gina come in and be welcome, and he got a rest period. And he hit Shimmy.
Bro, you know what, Alt? I just hit record, man.
All right. Oh, it wasn't recording the whole time? Well, we'll figure out what we got to figure out. That's all.
Yeah. So at least from this point on, we could be conscious. So I ain't got to do no editing.
All right. So we ain't got to cuss. Well, I ain't gonna say we, but me. I get a little.
Okay.
Overexcited.
So let me. All right. So let me just recap a little bit. Let me recap. So, you met Doc. Doc, you was like his son. He called you his son.
He paid for my tickets and he gave me his last name. His tickets to Vermont, my name was Seanell Powell. He gave me his last name. His daughters used to come there. I used to take care of his mother. His daughter, Tina, used to come up there,
And you said Doc's personality was straight to the point. He was direct. He told it like it was.
Yeah, he didn't hide nothing. He'd be cool sometime and didn't say nothing until he couldn't take it,
Yeah, and like you said, Doc asked a lot of questions to Professor V. Now, why didn't V like that? Why do you think he didn't like that?
He said Mr. V thought he was being a smart aleck by asking these questions, but Doc said he was asking those questions because he was fascinated. He never saw stuff like that, so he just wanted to know. Now, besides me doing this, I want to know, when you do this, what does it cause? What is, there's cause and effect. When I do that, what is going to cause? What's the effect going to be? He wanted to know all that. And Professor V would get mad, because really, basically, not too many other people was asking. Really, not nobody else. So.
And let me ask you this: when you did your jail bidding like that, I mean, because a lot of people tell a lot of stories. Everyone tell these grandiose stories, but
yeah.
But how would you describe it? I mean, matter of fact, was you in the jail? What years was you? What years was you in when you in the system?
Oh, all the way from 91 going all the way to 99. But there was times that I did get out. And the reality is, like I said, and what I learned from Doc would ease me to don't end somebody's existence would be, don't not expect to be hurt in a fight. So like if I had got hurt, I'd be ready to do certain things, But he said, no. On that day, you were the student and not the teacher, because you're always learning. It works. You know how it feels. So when you go to do it on somebody else, you're gonna know how it is. But so, you put your flavor on it.
Let me ask you, from 91 to 99, that was around the time when the Bloods was rising in the system.
When they came towards the end of that, it mostly was like the Deceps from the early 90s to the mid 90s. The Bloodstains and the Crips more came like in the late 90s,
The late 90s.
And basically, it was the other gang members converting over to that. It was the same people, just they was switching the name.
So it was like Deceps was switching over to the Bloods.
Yeah, that's all it was.
And I heard some of the 5% was switching over to the Bloods.
Yeah, and then a lot of people who used it for protection in jail. That's one thing I never did. I'm not joining nothing, because you're not going to be telling me what to do. They joint stuff for protection in jail. That wasn't my thing. Soon as anything set off, I went right on them right there. So that's why I never really had any problems like that, And a lot of people, they just used it for protection, man. A lot of them was cowards, man. A lot of them was cowards. If they didn't have 10, 20, 30 guys behind them, they wouldn't be doing nothing. But if you caught them in the street, hey, yo, come here. Well, soon they taking off. You got to catch this person now.
Now, when I was a kid when I remember being I was young, 10, 11, 12, I was a boy. But I remember the Decepticons back in that day, in that era. And I mean, because it was two gangs. You had the Decepticons and the BMW.
Yeah, and you had the Autobots.
The Autobots too, but the Decepticons was like the big one. It was
the Decepticons was more big. The Autobots really was more on Underhill over there by me, off Eastern Parkway. They was more up on Underhill because I knew some of them. There was more up over there. The Decepticons thing did overflow in a sense, if you want to say it.
And then later on, you had the Low Lives. They came a little bit later on.
Well, if you want to know the truth, the Low Lives came before the Deceps. Because they was boosting. It's just that they wasn't as well known.
Right.
So they were wearing a polo to Ralph Lauren. So that's why they was low life. And all of them was up there on Franklin Avenue.
Right.
God rest his soul, Biz Markie, God rest his soul, Biggie Smalls, Little Kim, all of them. They used to be up on Franklin Avenue. Over there by me on Eastern Parkway. Yeah.
But when I remember the low lives, I don't really remember, like, if I had to compare them to Decepticons, always linked the Decepticons to like more violence. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because the low lives was on the money tip and dressing wise.
Yeah.
The Decepts was on more of the banging out part, and a lot of times the banging out sometimes didn't come from them starting to bang out. It was beef that they had from stuff that they did to somebody, because I had friends and family that was in that, and I ran with them doing stuff. And I was one of the persons that did the spinoff of that, the dark side, from the Decepticons, and was one of the 5 generals in which what I was. And we used to go somewhere and we would just get it on, or we go, you know, I can't get into too much stuff, but you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But
Damn,
I was
bro.
there, and my name was Chaos then, Chaos Total Destruction, Chaos TD. And they brought this other guy came up, he tried to take my name, Chaos Eva Destruction. And we met at the shuttle train on Franklin Avenue.
Hey, let me ask you, is the Decepticons still around?
They still around, but they mostly blood, and they wear purple and stuff like that. And sometimes they piece each other. They still, you know, greet each other with that stuff, you know. They still there. But like I said, they mostly they bloods. Basically, I could say 95%, 98%.
Wow. So tell me this now, because I want to record to get this back. So you was in Vanderbilt. You had a situation with a gang member. He tried to run down on you with a knife.
Well, the gang member was the gang member that ran up on me was on Franklin. Okay. I came from doing work at Vanderbilt, and that was
that's
me.
When you was doing. That's when you was doing expert security with Grandmaster.
Yeah, and Grandmaster Lamumba was there working with us too. He was there that night with us. He's a good friend of mine too for a lot of years. And you know, one thing that certain people don't know, Doc said, Grandmaster Lamumba is his most dangerous student. Some people don't know that. And,
why did he say that? Why did he say that?
I don't want to go into too many things, but I can tell you that when it's time to move, if it's hardcore movement, he'll move. Is all I can say. That's the best I can put it, you know. And you can get the same word from Grandmaster Bill McLeod. And he's one of my other elder streetologists, and he will tell you the same thing, you know. And he get busy too. He put in work. I put in work. And he can vouch for me, you know. So anybody try to say anything about me, I'm not scared of nobody. You know, I was always there with Dad. If anybody would have tried to do anything, they would have been finished. That would have been it. He didn't have to raise his hand to do nothing. He used to say, "Come over here with me, Sean, watch my back." He was just testing, you know. And then if anything was going on, he didn't want to have to watch Gina or whatever was going on. He'd be setting it off on whoever over there. And then I had that covered. So we had that kind of thing going. And
let me ask you a question. I did an interview with Gina Barnett, right? Barnett.
Yeah.
And did you hear that interview?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, she was the secretary. And from my understanding, she kept notes on everything. She kept all the records.
Yeah, at some point she did when he had her to doing it, because at one point she wasn't doing it. But when he started her to doing it, she was.
Now, when she did keep those records, that means that she had the official records of who's who, what's what, in terms of ranked students like that, right?
Yes, she would.
Okay.
Yes, she would, and to a certain degree, she did. Yes, she did.
Okay.
And he had a lot of stuff that he would have sitting, because like one time it was something going on in the argument, and Doc said, "I don't let nobody get in my business." With her and whoever else that might would say, he had a limit to how far he was going to let you go to get in his business. He mainly would do whatever he wanted himself.
You know, one thing that Gina said in that interview was that she said that Doc did not leave a successor.
No, he didn't.
Now,
no, he didn't.
But she being a secretary, is that a credible statement? I mean, would she have known that?
Yes, that's more than credible. That's more than credible.
So why do you think he didn't leave a successor?
Doc knew what he was doing. You know, first off, the people that he put in place, he gave you something, or he bigged up your thing that you was doing. So he gave you that rank. Now go ahead and do you. But whoever that he had that was at certain levels as far as concerning sanuces, he wanted them there. If you weren't put there, then you wasn't meant to be there. Like how he got Sokia-san as president. He wanted him there. He put him there for that reason, and it wasn't meant for anybody else. You know, He did ask Grandmaster Anthony sometime years before that, you want to do this and that, leave Snookers? No, he didn't. And I can see his point because he probably wouldn't want to like on it. You know what I mean? Like, you better do this and do that right. You understand where that came from. But he left Sokia Sani president, and that's what it is.
Now he left Sokia San president of what?
Well, Sanuces, the Federation. The family of Sanuces. Doc had me on record as a family member, lifetime. So no matter what goes on, and I don't know who say I'm lifetime family member. Sanuces.
But I mean, but the family of Sanuces, you're talking about the organization.
The Federation and the organization. It's two different things.
Now, what's the difference between the Federation and the organization?
Well, you have the Federation, you have Sanuces Rue eye-to-eye system of jujitsu. And then you have Hassan on the board, and there's certain people. So who's the head on the board under him? You understand? And then now you have the family thing where there's all the other systems, they add-ons and who doing what and whatever. They don't all have a say in on the Federation.
Now, what does the Federation do? What's the role of the Federation?
Well, the Federation is Sanuces, period, man. You know, just everything that's that from the head. One time somebody asked him, they said, well, where's headquarters? He said, headquarters is wherever I am.
So the Federation is responsible for the perpetuation of the art.
Yeah, they're responsible and for bringing everybody together and doing everything on the family part, but then on the business part and everything else is the Federation.
Now,
covering all of the business aspects.
But the Federation has a president. Now, is the president elected? The president gets elected? Does it change? Or is it eternal?
Well, if Doc made it the president, nobody can change that because Doc ain't here to say that he ain't, what you would call it? Oh my God, somebody trying to call me. I declined it. Somebody tried to call me, I declined it. Yeah. If he makes somebody, if you leave somebody in charge of something, unless you change that and you pass away, that person is still in charge of that. The executive of that estate. There was never a problem. Why they doing it, man?
What happened?
It was showing something on the screen, and I said I had to press got it.
Yeah. For
the thing, what went on? There was never a problem again. That's all I can say. That was over. Because I'm the type of person, I don't run with a crowd. So, and I did have crowds to do stuff with, but when I did stuff, I do stuff by myself. But then now people start hearing about you and what you can do, challenges start coming. You understand what I'm saying? Like people heard, I heard he did this or he did that or he can do. So then now they want to act like they're going to try to get a badge or a stripe off of you, and then you got to defend. So then they want to bring more and more and more. Oh, so y'all really want to go there? So let's bring out the heavy hitters. And Doc show up without you knowing he's there. You say, oh, them Crips got a problem? He said, I'm going to come down there in a big red snowsuit. And I speak the truth. And one thing I'll say, Grandmaster Bill say, why he don't call a brother? I didn't call the people that was direct close in the area because why should we have to move? Let the unseen come take care of it. They don't know where to go. So that's how we rock,
Talk to me about the Navy SEALs. You were telling me about the Navy SEALs.
Oh, Doc had some Navy SEAL people he trained. Oh, one of them had given him it's a knife made out of some kind of a material that you can go through the airport with it, but it hangs from a chain on your neck. But anyway, going back to those guys, Doc said, I got some guys, man, that ain't no joke. He said, I gave some people some rank and they start thinking they the shit, like they don't need me no more. I got some guys I trained in the military, some white boys that could come over here and put it on some of these black people. You thinking just because of color. Color don't got nothing to do with it. It's your spirit. Doc said, I got some people I trained, man, that people never seen before. They military, You know the people that caught Saddam Hussein that regimen. They called him and told him after they caught him, after they captured Saddam Hussein. A lot of people don't know that. Maybe some people are mad because of that, you know. Yeah. Yeah, he trained Al Sharpton and a lot of people. He bodyguarded Malcolm X and, you know, the Minister Louis Farrakhan and everything. Minister Louis Farrakhan seen that bang out with them soldiers over there in Libya when they came and he thought they was bum rushing to try to do something to the minister. It took 3 waves before they could get the best of them. 3 waves of soldiers. I ain't talking about waving hands. I'm talking about waves. Numbers. And Dad was handling his business. And
so what part of Brooklyn did Doc live the most in? Like, from what you remember, what part of Brooklyn did he live in?
Oh man, well, I know Bed-Stuy is the main thing with him, a mainstay. And Gina family was over there on Rockaway and stuff like that. But he was really a Bed-Stuy person, mostly, from what I know. Most of the people I know that know him is a Bed-Stuy thing. You see a lot of people and gangsters that I knew, and I tell him who he was, and da-da-da, and he met up with him. Do you know Goat? He said, do I? And then the man name ring bells in the street. So for the people that's your martial artists and you think you're this or you're that, and you could be Grandmaster this or whoever you thought you was, your name ain't ringing bells in the street. You ain't holding it down like that. Doc name ring bells in the martial arts world all over this entire planet and in the street for him getting busy. I'm not carrying somebody's flag or whatever. You understand where I'm coming from? Just telling it like it is, because that's how we do on the street. When somebody try to downplay somebody, don't do that. That man earned his right for this and that. Up in Harlem on down, he in Brooklyn and everywhere else. You know, Doc, you come up in Harlem, they pay homage. The people that wasn't martial artists, the gangsters in the street, handing him money and everything. You know, scared because they thought he was going to. You know, there's things. You know. Like
but I'm saying, but what was about Doc that gave, you know what I mean? What made him such a respected person in the street?
He put that work in, man, and that's the bottom line. There's no other way you're gonna get it. You ain't gonna get it by talking. He was basically like, so he was a real dude that had some serious martial science. It was beyond the martial science. Doc will cut you, Doc will shoot you, Doc will whatever you know. People talking about Doc throwing gasoline in the face, throwing it in the person's face on the drive-by, the match throwing it on him, lighting him on fire. The man just didn't want to go there, you know. From him being a teenager, and I can say it now because he's not here. I think this was this one was the Bronx or Manhattan, Harlem. It was a dice game and something jumped off, and the guys tried to follow Dad home, and he did what he had to do, you know. And certain things happened and blah 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 to the guys, you know. And the judge banned him from coming there for a while, you know. He said, "I know you did it, but we can't prove it. We know you did it." Now, you understand what I'm saying without me being so clear?
Yeah.
Many times over. Without blinking. But some of his students that you talking that stuff and he didn't touch you because he said, "You like my children, I won't kill my students." And they so lucky. Some of them is so lucky. So the disrespect. Because of him, you chilling. And then you act like you don't want to honor the man. Wow. Wow. What is that? He almost got murdered in the street because of this thing with sanuces. Them techniques came from him, actual combat. You know, Mr. B didn't teach me this. Mr. B told him, "I cannot make you Moses. You have to go see Moses."
You know, sometimes I feel like people thought the formula was to study sanuces, study jujitsu, and then somehow you could be better than Doc. but you did all of that and you're still not better than Doc.
That's right. Hey, ask Professor David James too. He's a cool brother, you know. He said Mr. B told him, if there's a room with one door and 100 men in there, Moses will get out. Okay? Now that's coming from your teacher.
Yo, Moses is the greatest, man. You know that When you go to docmagazine.net, it says Dr. Moses Powell, the greatest martial arts scientist of the 20th century.
Mm-hmm. Hey, you know, some people didn't want to accept it. You know, like Grandmaster V said, you surpassed me. He told Doc, I can't teach you no more. You surpassed me. And you have, you know, somebody may say, oh no, that's what their teacher wanted. Until that's the teacher, that's the best thing they want. They say that for their student. Until the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said openly that Doc was the god of martial arts. Right. Then they clasped on and respected. That man seen Doc getting busy, straight up and down. The people that's trying to talk tough now, they didn't see him put in that deadly work. They didn't see him on the street neither doing things, you know, or hearing of what he had done, or people missing, you know, they don't know about them things. And he sat back and he looked at it. He said, you know, you're gonna do like Mr. V taught him. He said, humility, John, is how not to. It was so many people, and it wasn't like it was a horrendous amount, but it was a couple of people that he really trusted and loved. They betrayed him. And he said, Sean, if I didn't, you know, catch myself, they wouldn't be here. They wouldn't. I'm saying it straight up. And Grandmaster Bill verified. He said, if Doc didn't die, you know how many, if Doc didn't pass away, you know how many people was gonna die? Ask Grandmaster Bill. See, I'm not one of those people where they sugarcoat and they talk stuff and lie. Ask the Grandmaster himself. And he rolled with Doc. He know how Doc get down. And he get down. And Doc had me as his right hand man, right there with him when I was with him. Nobody was gonna touch Doc or come near him. Not that he needed me, but he knew the love I had for him, and that's why he had me right there with him. And he instilled teachings in me. And anybody would try to move, I'd put a bullet in their fucking head.
Hey, let me ask you a question. Did Doc ever share with you his vision for sanuces, or like his dreams, or like what was his?
He wanted a temple. That was his main big dream for sanuces. He said he wished he could get it like a temple. You know what I mean? And for sanuces. What
do you mean by temple? You mean like a school?
Yeah, a big temple, like people could come from all over the world and train and learn it and share knowledge.
So why? I mean, that doesn't seem like something hard to do. Why didn't he get that?
Well, it was like he said, it was politics, man. You had a lot of people that wouldn't mess with him, like as far as some that was a bulk of Caucasian or whoever else, because he had the affiliation with Nation Islam. And then you had some people that were scared because they hear about him on the street. And then Doc banged on a lot of people too. Like he spoke about one time that Ronald Duncan, something was going on, and Ronald Duncan kicked him in the groin, and he was chasing Ronald Duncan around the auditorium. He said Ronald Duncan was like, "I'm sorry, Moses, I'm sorry." So like a lot of big names, people talking that trash because he ain't here now. They was scared of him, and if you wasn't scared, they had better sense to know they was not his match, because he wasn't just a martial art type thing. He had something that you couldn't prepare for. And a big guy like that, and he raw and powerful, you know, came within an inch to kicking Bruce Lee ass. Bruce Lee wanted Professor V to train him, and he wanted to learn what Moses doing. That's after a big event they had somewhere in California or whatever. Doc broke some boards. He said, Bruce Lee said, oh, he must have had something in his hand. And Doc said, he told Bruce Lee, he said, ain't no trampolines up in here, motherfucker. He said, Bruce Lee said, what you say? He said, you heard what I said. Ain't no trampolines up in here. And hey, Bruce Lee backed up off.
What did he mean by that? What did he mean by what he said? Trampoline? What he meant by
trampolines?
Oh, trampolines.
Because in a lot of Bruce Lee movies, he was doing trick shots, you know, jumping off the trampoline and all. So, you know, Doc, he let you know, you ain't jumping up in the air, first off, and I got you straight up. Anyway, you got to go into his mind, how he think. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that was the post I put on Facebook, the group, when I said that Bruce Lee said he wanted to learn sanuces before he died. You heard this before. You heard this.
Yeah, he told Professor B. Professor B told him, you have to go to Moses, because that's not what I teach. Moses didn't get that from me. And then at one time they say him and Bruce Lee was supposed to fight, but it never got to happen. You know, because like Bruce Lee kind of didn't like Doc, but he respected him at the same time. That's what was said. He didn't like him because Doc stood up to him while everybody else was kissing his behind. Doc told him straight up and down how he felt. So while they was kissing his behind, you know, You hear all these people talking about who this one, they fought them all and all that. Who you see a lot of them people, Doc was throwing events when he was doing the Savior's Day, and you see like a lot of people was in the crowd. Grandmaster Steve Muhammad and all of the other people. Doc left the security for the Nation of Islam over to Anthony, you know. So a lot of people came to him to get something. They knew they couldn't get that nowhere else. You don't, if anybody you hear stand up talking about they beat him up or something, they lying. Well, where was your rifles and the firing squad and everybody? No, they knew who the man. But Doc said the politics. He trained so many people. He trained Chuck Norris and Superfoot Wallace and so many people, and they wouldn't even mention him.
Yeah, man. Hey, Shihan, you know, Doc Magazine started in 2011. This is 2000, so this is the 10th year anniversary of Doc Magazine.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I'm actually dedicating this podcast. Well, I'm dedicating this broadcast, this show, Shihan Big Sean, to the 10th anniversary of Doc Magazine. This show is the official 10th anniversary broadcast for Doc Magazine.
Respect us, brothers, spirit to spirit.
Us. You know,
I appreciate
another thing you said, I can give you all the tools in the world, but I can't give you a heart. Don't be a dojo killer.
That's right. That's what he said. I can give you all the tools in the world, but I can't give you the heart. So no matter how much I teach you, I can't give you the heart to do that on the street. In other words, that's what he's saying, because you remember Doc like to talk in not so much of a riddle, so can say parables, but he talked it for certain people that if you knew him, you knew what he was saying. Mm-hmm. Or if you was a certain type of person, you know, like I say, the streetologists and certain stuff, you know exactly what he was saying. He could be all the tools in the world.
Another thing you said, Doc said, I hit you hard, you get mad, then I hit you a little bit harder, then you get madder.
I got the video. I was trying to put it on for you. That was in 1999 at Shihan Ron Abrams School. He was whipping Shim ass something terrible that day. Shim was crying. Tears were coming out his eyes. He had the towel. So Doc turned around. He looked at the other students. He said, "Don't squint, because that could be you. Make sure you're the deliverer, not the receiver." He said, anyway, he said, I hit you hard, you get mad. Hit you a little bit harder, you get a little bit more mad. Then you just get. So get that vision. You ain't even got time to get mad with this stuff that I'm gonna be putting on you.
Now, did he say you just get or you just get hit?
No, you just get. Okay,
I gotta correct that.
Just get means you getting whatever he's giving to you. And there's nothing you can do about it. So then you just get. I was right there. I'm the one filmed it that day. I have the video. When we get a chance, I can send it to you. You hear my voice in the background. I was recording. And that way he got on Sokia Sign that day and whatever was going on in the room, but it was for Shim. It was that day for Shim ass whooping. For he made Doc mad about something. And that's how it was going. You know, people knew when it was coming, you have to deal with it. Shim was like, hey, hey, took it. You know what I mean?
Hey, you know how I know Doc is a special man, because his students are some dangerous people. Mm-hmm. But I remember Professor Yusuf Rahman told me this before he died. He said, if you put all us Doc students in a room and put them all together, it still wouldn't be Doc.
No, you wouldn't even get 10%. I was at Professor Yusuf Rahman's funeral, over there in Bed-Stuy. He told me, like, when he was young, he had the polio, and Doc helped him to learn how to walk and stuff like that. Because I had met him way back, He wasn't like how would you say, a person flying and flipping, rolling out, but he was a powerhouse. The man had kind of abnormal strength. He was strong.
Grandmaster Cleveland Robinson told me that too. Before he died too. He told me that too. Same thing you just said. Yeah. But one thing that Professor Rahman put in me, he put in me that deep fundamentalist. Like Professor Rahman is the reason why I'm a doc. I mean, he put that diehard sanuces spirit. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what he was. You know, he used to say, I'm Doc's oldest student on the mat, because what he meant by that was he never went and created his own style. He never learned anything else. He just stayed to what Doc gave him since the early 70s.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I worked out with him. The first time I worked out with him, I said, yeah. He was a strong guy. That wasn't a problem. He had these long, sharp toenails, and he was cutting my feet open. I said, oh my God, he cut me up. Let's switch partners. But he was a cool brother. He was a cool brother.
Another thing you said that Doc said, if I make you Grandmaster, what am I? Oh,
that's what Doc said at I believe it was the 2002 Hall of Fame. A lot of this stuff, I don't even have the footage of these things no more. People like Shihan and them would have that. I was at the table with Doc. I was a special guest. I was on his left side and Gina was on the right. There was nobody else there but me and him. Shit, like I say, I was 250 pounds and I was swole up. I had the curve. And the whole room, you got maybe about 500 to 1,000 people in the room, how many of it was. And he told me, he said, because I make you a Grandmaster doesn't mean that you don't come and see me. He said, you're not my equal. He said, if I make you a Grandmaster, what am I? He said it openly in front of everybody. And that's the truth. Nobody is his equal.
And you know what's crazy, man? He's been gone now, 2005, right?
About 16 years.
16 years.
And the last time I was at his house in Vermont, like I tell you, that it's hard to, you know. And he said, you know, Sean, 9 is the number of completion. And I ain't afraid to die. And he passed away 9 days after his birthday. And he know he was going somewhere, you know. But he know where he was going, you know. Some people don't understand. They got people that he really tapped into the spiritual realm. He had the gift. Ain't that many people on this planet that can bring something out of you and give you something too. Okay, if you know how to fight, here go this to make you can fight more. And if you can't fight, here go this.
You talked about Donald Elijah Muhammad and Professor V had a big influence on what influence did Elijah Muhammad have on Doc?
He said their deaths at the time his mother was still alive, but he said their death was the hardest thing for him in life. After all whatever he'd been through, them two passing away was the most hurtful.
Right. You know, you said Elijah Muhammad, Professor V, and his mother passing.
No, his mother hadn't passed away yet.
Okay.
But it was after Elijah. It was after Professor V died, and we had the class. Me and Shihan went up there in Hartford, Connecticut, at Mashaba Force training camp, Muhammad Shabazz, aka Anaconda School. And you know, Doc had to put him in check in a sense too. He could talk about all that closeness, but at some point he was telling Doc he couldn't come there to teach. Doc still had the keys to the school. We were still coming up in there. Class is open, baby. What you going to do? Doc would tell him, and then I can't remember the punk ass one that would be like his stepson that was there that got the baby with one of Doc's daughters. He's a snake. We came there to the house one time. He was hiding in the closet in Hartford. But anyway, Doc was like, well, come on with it. We opened up the school. We in there working out. What you gonna do? And Doc used to call him up. I'd sit there to the table with him. He said, I'm down the road. Come on down. Their house wasn't but so far up the road. Dad used to stay there with him. Then when the house that came available that where he was at, he moved into that. Come on down the road. You know, telephone gangsters. But it was the kid trying to say something, but he wasn't trying to really go there. But it didn't take much to set Doc off. And this sucker gonna tell him he couldn't come and teach at the school. Doc said, yeah, hey. So okay, and us was right there multiple times after this guy said that Doc couldn't be there. Doc still had the keys to the school. And we still came in there. What you gonna do? What you gonna do? So all that talk about what you love and whoever, you told him, man, he couldn't come train at the school. He gave you knowledge, you punk motherfucker.
Us. So Shihan, another thing you said Doc said fight one man like you fighting five and fight five like you fighting one.
Mm-hmm. He said you fight one guy like you fighting five. So when you fight five, it's just like you fight one. It would be the breeze to you with that much viciousness and ferocity. He said, who you feel sorry for, him or you? Because you don't know his intention. And I know that for a fact, being in the fight and getting on the ground and the guy trying to choke me, you don't know what their intention is. What the best of you that they can get, how far they'll go. You don't know. I've been in them dangerous situations. People trying to shoot you, trying to kill you, trying to stab you. And me having to do stuff to defend, you know.
All right, so check it out. Another thing we got, point 26, your street fight. So with your street fights, I'm gonna say some stuff and just give me the answer. So stabbing situation. Tell me the most.
Which one?
Just tell me the craziest
one?
Tell me
or the recent one, the year before that.
Tell me the craziest knife situation and how you had to get out of that.
The craziest one was the one I put in a coma. If I didn't call the police and ambulance and stay there and wait, I was looking at a lot of years. They was trying to lock me up, but they got my voice recorded calling the police. The ambulance kept coming, but they was driving past him, but his body was on the floor. They couldn't see him.
All right, all right.
District attorney, he was Korean. He was a Taekwondo master. He respected me. When he found out the people talking about, oh, he did that karate stuff on him, and he looked at me. He said, if you didn't call the ambulance and the police and wait, you would get at least 5 years from me. But since you did, now I want you to stay out of trouble for 5 years, or we'll open this case again. Wow. The guy was in a coma for 6 months. I disfigured his face. It's nothing to be big or, you know. Now, this last one, year before last, with the guy I told you, after I hit him with an overhand strike and dropped him, he came back an hour or so later and with a hood on and ran up behind me trying to stab me. And I caught a wound here to the chest. But if I didn't catch his hand, he stabbed me the solar plex and the breastplate. I want to see if you can see it. Right here. Do you see it?
Yeah.
Now imagine if I didn't catch that knife. It could have went in and could have killed me. You know? But I got special remedies. I have special remedies for people like that, you know. And anybody watching this, and Doc would even tell you, there's 2 ways to hold a knife. You have this way, and you have this way. This way, you're limited, because the most you could do is slash and stick. If you can get some blocks in, your wrist can't turn but for so many degrees or angles, right? But if your hand is this way, now you can go in, you can go up, you can slash across, you can stick, you can come down, you can come up, you can go back again, and you can just keep going. Now, there's certain people with knife fighting, they was like, oh, they look so nice, they're the best with a knife, doing all that cut. Watch the Doc techniques in his school, because in the street fight, you're not standing there, chop, 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 chop. No, it's not going that way. You see him take a cut, boom, and then bop, take them off their feet. Or he'd stick them and then sweep. That's reality of street fight. Nobody's standing there taking the blade, cutting all the way across somebody's chest 1,000 times. It ain't going like that, brother. And especially if you can jump the joint, and trust me, don't underestimate street fighters, because I'm one of them. You know, most of them is the ones that Doc gave the ring, you know, because they could fight. So some people get this thing in their mind, oh, they learned martial arts and they're gonna go get in a fight and they won't get touched and they'll come out looking shining and sparkling. Buddy, that's a bad dream, and it will become a nightmare. Because the reality is you can't plan what you're gonna do, because you don't know what's gonna happen sometimes, brother.
All right, Shihan, so check, all right, shootouts. How do you survive a shootout?
Well, the best thing you can do, from what I know, from that wound that I got over here. Can you see it?
Yeah.
I ran into traffic. And a zigzag. I had Doc laughing. He said, "You lucky you didn't zig, or you should have zagged." I came out of the hospital. I came up there and stayed with him in Vermont for a while. You know, hey, and then when it comes to that, one thing I'll tell you, don't pull it out if you ain't gonna use it. And ain't no firing in the air. The same place you can strike or you can stab, you can shoot. It don't take much. It don't take much, man. You pop that guy in the nerve endings in the shoulder right here, he's not raising that arm. Bam, he's gonna go into a spin. Now, do you want him finished? When he spins off, you wanna pop him. A lot of times the direct shot is not what it's gonna be. You gotta aim a little bit lower. So when the shit goes off, bam, it's gonna be to where you want it to be. You understand? With the spin, bow, what? Right in the head and keep moving. And then now, a lot of the gunshots, all that street bullshit, where you see them turning the gun to the side, get out of here with that, man.
Yeah.
You know where you fire a gun from? Right here. Where I'm aiming from?
Your hip.
That's right. That's what Doc taught me. You get that thing out your waist, you start banging from right there and you put it away. Nobody even had to know that you was the one shooting. I would say 100% of everything he taught me, reality is real. I had to use maybe 40 to 50% of it. And thank God the other 50 I didn't have to. Well, for now anyway.
All right, what about a jumping situation? Somebody try to jump.
Oh, like I told you the other night. Or I said it earlier, but the recording cut off on us.
Yeah.
If me and you arguing and your boy's standing next to us, I'm gonna snuff your man and knock him off his feet and knock him out. That's gonna balance. And while you in shock, then now I'm gonna dig all in. You know, the people that standing there looking ain't gonna want nothing. Tried and tested, I've done it, brother. And I hit hard, my brother. You know. And a lot of times it don't take much. Doc said sometimes you gotta wake him up to knock him out. He taught us that one time. And I remember Grandmaster Son, he said, I like that, Doc, I like that. He said, sometimes you gotta wake him up to knock him out. It ain't all about the power. You can strike that nerve. When you go, then you hit him again, whap, and then take him out. Because you can't keep using strength if you're getting jumped. Now, what happens when you get tired? Or if you're elderly? Doc said, my lease is my best. And some people didn't get the revelation of that, and he explained it to me. He said, my lease is my best. A lot of times you're gonna get in fights, ain't gonna be no throwing and kicking and doing all that. It's right there, me and you, I want you. You throw that hand, and I'll break your arm to get you in there. You know? It's reality, man. You gotta be vicious like that because you don't know what these people gonna do to you. I've been through the gun shootouts and the stabbings and the jumpings and police even jumping on me, beating on me, you know. And,
so let me ask you a question. What happens when you, let's say you're in a situation and you're winning, you get the best, you're getting the best of the person. When do you know when to like disengage but in sanuces though, there really isn't really no disengaging. It's really until the threat is totally, you know.
Well, the reality of it is until the threat is no longer.
Right.
Now you can incapacitate the person. You don't have to kill them.
Right.
If you knock them out, you can keep going. Or, you know, you did something to them where they can't get up and walk at that time and give you time to get away. It all depends. From what I learned from it, and from my life being in danger, it all depends on how I'm attacked is how I'm going to defend and offend. It all depends on that. You can tell just how much or how bad a person want to do you by the way they attack you or approach you or whatever I go. So whatever it takes for me to get out that situation, I'll explain it to the judge and jury later on. Plain and simple. Not guilty. Well, you did. Not. We talking to the jury. Because you have to do that. Do you want to be dead? You know, in Training Day, Denzel say you want to go to jail or you want to go home. Well, I'm saying, do you want to live or you want to die? Just people talking tough, man, and all this stuff with tournament. Yeah, that's cool. That has its place like that. Say, but what about in the street where there's no control? It's not a controlled environmental situation. You might have a person, they think they this and that. You got high rank. Oh, yeah, I've been attacked before. I did this and that. Well, how was it for you on a daily basis? Have you lived it? Have you lived it constantly? All the time, every time. Gunshots, stabbing. I mean, people trying to murder you on more than one occasion. Doc himself, he said he was shot, stabbed, beaten with baseball bats, left for dead. The supreme grand master of the system. Even at one time, they tried to take him out. You think you better than him? You think somebody won't kill your ass? So you got to be real with this thing, man. Nobody's invincible or whatever. So then you hear another person, what Bushido is that? They getting on the mat with a knife or a gun. Well, Doc already been shot and stabbed. Anybody that really know him, he wasn't having that no more. You ain't no prize. He was. What was somebody to think to come? I went into school and I took out Moses Powell, or I beat him or whatever, or I shot him or stabbed him. You ain't no prize. Nobody came for you. There was occasions people don't know where people came to the school looking for him. In different areas and situations and even countries. He told me, what country was that? The guy, the wife, the lady's husband wanted to kill him because he thought the wife was being too nice to him. And they told him to don't eat the food that night. It was in some country. I can't remember it. I can't remember it offhand. He told me.
Was it in Benin, Africa, Benin?
No, it wasn't Africa. They poisoned his food. They was gonna kill him.
They was gonna kill Doc.
They poisoned his food and they came and told him don't eat it. The lady's husband was jealous of how nice his wife was being to Doc. She tried. I could get into a few things that I can't get into on the radio. There's a lot of stuff I can't get into on the radio. So, I respect everybody and I got love for everybody. And like I said, who my friends are, Grandmaster Bill, Sokia-san, Professor Stone, and Professor Hurlock used to work out with us. And who else was it? Grandmaster Anthony Muhammad. Yeah, because I know his family and stuff. I had to go to Linden Plaza. I'd hang with his brother, Pat. I went to his house and talked to his father. He said, bring him back. We talked about religion and all that, So there's people that I'm cool with. Lil John, I don't know him like that. I've been to a few seminars with him, but I was in Vermont on many occasions that he did call Doc. So with people talking about how they trying to instigate something like if they didn't speak, he still called Doc. He still called him. I used to see it on the call ID. John Davis,
So Shihan, I'm gonna get through these last remaining. As I say these topics, just summarize it. Just give me the summary. You took care of his mother.
Oh yeah, many times. I can't even count how many times. I used to come up there and stay for a month or so at a time. Doc would be leaving the country, going to places or going from state to state, and I was there. His mother.
Where was his mother living? Was she in Brooklyn?
No, this was in Vermont.
Vermont,
they went and got her out of Virginia and brought her up to Vermont.
And why did he like Vermont so much?
He said he liked Vermont because of peace and tranquility. His house, he had a stream running through the back of his house, and an apple tree was in the back as well.
What city was this in Vermont? What city?
This was Weston, Vermont.
I've never been to Vermont before.
Yeah, Weston, W-E-S-T-O-N. And I've been to Vermont. Spots where they picked me up. Yeah, Brattleboro and Rutland and Londonderry and different places up there in Vermont. I used to take the buses and coming up there to see him, and I'd stay with him for a month or so at a time.
What's the vibe like out? I've never been there. What is it like out there?
It's smooth and it's calm and it's cool and peaceful. But me myself, I couldn't be there unless I was married to something. That's a single person. You need a car to move around.
So when Doc was in Vermont, did you ever see him working on new katas or new techniques or something like that?
Oh, he would get up early in the morning. You would never get to see him do it, but he'd be done what he did. If you coming down those stairs 4 or 5 in the morning,
how early he used to get up? What time he used to get up?
Like I say, 4 or 5 in the morning. And he'd be sitting in the chair in his robe or whatever, depending on the weather. Whatever his workout was, you never got to see it.
Yeah, so he never showed his workout.
No, you wouldn't.
No. And how long did he work out for?
I couldn't tell you that, brother. I couldn't tell you that. I can only tell you some of the times that I worked out with him.
When you worked out with him, what did you do?
Somebody else was there when somebody else did be there to do it, rather than me just getting whooped.
So when you worked out with him, what was that regimen like?
Nah, he just be showing me different strikes and how to turn your hand and how to do this and that. And if you did that strike, your hand wasn't set and whatever imperfections, he would give it to you. And what do you call it? Critiquing. He said a lot of his students didn't like being critiqued. Especially the ones that got higher. They didn't want to be critiqued. They thought they have arrived. And he said
now remember, we're calling him the greatest martial scientist of the 20th century, but we're saying this 16 years later, we're saying this 10 years later. But when he was living, how many people in his life saw him in the flesh as the greatest?
Let me tell you something, and which a lot of people don't know too, and they trying to come with their little fake politics and whatever, like trying to block him out and do all these kind of things. You know how many people from other countries and continents were sending him books and letters and videos? They wanted his input and intake on this and that, and what about this and what about that? I've seen it. Chinese and whoever else, they didn't know the influence this man had. People from Greece and all that. He was teaching people with the pancreatin, what they call it, pancreatin or pancreation style fighting, all over this planet. They don't got that, and they won't get it because you don't have that.
You mean Punatakin?
Something to that. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Okay, you talking about the Filipino artist?
No, this is Grecian fighting, Greco-Roman. And I had the newspapers with him with that stuff. I lost a lot of that stuff, but he well respected, and nobody else can top that, and they can't take it away. So you can try to block his name out and try to take credit for all his work, but you ain't him.
So Shihan, you took care of Doc when he had his neck and hip surgery and knee replacement.
Yeah.
Now, what happened with his neck? What went wrong with his neck?
Well, when he slipped and fell on the ice up there, people tell me, "Oh, why he didn't slap out?" Well, you know, another thing I wanted to say, what a lot of people didn't know what Doc told him. Well, he told me, you know, no matter how much with them falls and all that, you doing that for a certain amount of years, it does something to your body. There's no escaping what can happen. But he slipped and fell on the ice. Yes, he slapped out, but there was a piece of jagged ice sticking up and stabbed him in the back of his neck. But he told me he had the injury to his neck from maybe 40, 50 years earlier. He had fought some guy in a thing. He said he used to have hand wraps. And he said the guy had hit him in the neck or something. And he did a rollout or whatever, and he kicked the guy, and however it went. But he had that injury to his neck from decades earlier. But when he fell on that ice, there was a piece of jagged ice sticking up, stabbed him in his neck. And he had a donut, is what he called it. That's the word he used, yeah. He said he had a donut in his neck, in his cervical spine. And if you see any videos with him from after that, you'll see this small, thin line in the back of his neck. If the cameras were behind him, because a lot of people were scared of him, you would see that where they did that surgery.
And how did that affect him? Like, how did that affect him after the surgery? How did that injury affect him?
That wasn't the bad one. The hip one wasn't the bad one. That knee was, well, now okay. Let me say it this way. With the neck one, the neck part wasn't the baddest. It was his lower back from that because he had a bruised spinal cord. That was messing with him until
how did he get the bruised spinal cord?
That was from hitting the floor when he slipped on the ice up there. It just came from the doctor. He had the cane in his hand. He threw it up in the air. He said, "I don't need this no more." On the way to the car, up in the air, and he hit the ice.
So when he threw the cane up, that's when he flipped.
I don't know exactly, brother, to tell you right now.
So his hip replacement, how did that happen? What happened with that?
No, that hip thing was from years before being shot, man. He got shot in the leg and in the hip. Looking out for somebody that was a so-called friend, you know. That's what that person, man, don't know they took a lot of stuff from us that would have been there. You know, Doc said, you know how much stuff that I didn't get to show them, you know. But anyway, he got shot going to help somebody. He gets shot, yeah. He got hip, knee.
Now, why did he get the knee replacement?
Well, the knee replacement, one time Gina was rubbing his leg up there, and the piece of the bullet came out and hit the linoleum on the floor in the living room. That damaged his knee that bad. Now, Remember, he was walking on that for years.
Damn.
So the more you walk
hold, wait a minute. So she was massaging his leg, and a bullet, it moved to his knee.
The piece of the bullet popped through the skin and hit the floor in the house on the linoleum, brother. A fragment of the bullet.
Shit.
He was walking around with shattered stuff in his hip and his knee jammed up all them years, man.
Damn.
So people didn't know how much pain he was in, and they talking stuff, you know.
Damn. So he dealing with the neck, the hip, and the knee.
Yeah. And when that thing hit him with the neck and the back, his hand cramped from the nerve damage.
Oh, man.
And you see my hand?
Yeah.
People don't know it. If you see the latest videos from him, watch his hand. I had to pull his fingers. I would sit there at the table with him. And I'm rubbing him down. You know, some people so wicked here. He probably wouldn't want me saying this, but yo, y'all wrong, man. Y'all that did him wrong, y'all wrong. I ain't sorry. You fucking wrong. You deserve a bullet in your head. So anyway. His ankle was big as a cantaloupe, man. When they did the knee replacement, Doc was bow-legged. After they did the knee replacement, one leg was straight, one leg was bow. So can you imagine with him trying to walk like that? I can't go too far right now, man, because I'm starting to get mad now.
All right, I'm gonna bring it on home.
I love him so much, and I want the whole world to know.
You know, you said Doc said,
please, brother Furquan, you call Gina. She's not feeling well. I hope you talk to her. She's not well, man. You go and talk to her, please. And your other brother, I can't remember his name with the strong voice, but he said he was up there and he had the turkey burgers. Your other brother worked with you with the radio show.
Saladin.
Yeah. I'll give you a joke with that. Came up there one time in Vermont. Made these big giant hamburgers. I thought it was turkey, you know. Put the slice, the pickle, cheese, everything was there. And they know I like to eat. I wolfed them down. They waited till nighttime. Doc said, he started grinning and laughing. He said, yeah, Sean, you know what you was eating? I said, what? He said, that was ground moose. I said, stop playing. He said, no, I'm not playing. He started busting out laughing. He said, Gina, go get the stuff out the garbage can. And they had the packs. It was ground moose that I was eating. And the sausages were so lovely seasoned. It was the people, these special family that made it up there. I was eating dead sausage. I didn't even know this stuff, man.
This is in Vermont.
In Vermont. Now, he probably would want me to say this, but it's funny. So, you know.
Hey, man, I'm gonna have to take, you know what? I'm gonna have to take my wife out there, man. You said it's Western Vermont.
Yeah, if you go, they lived in a gully. If you go up there, I want to go with y'all, or at least y'all get there, direct you to the store. I want those deer sausages. I don't like deer, but that sausage you will not know. You won't know it's deer. I tell you, brother, you will not know that that's deer. They seasoned it and they did everything. It must be the best cuts of everything. That's everything with that deer. Yeah.
Hey, you know, maybe Vermont should be the place where the sanuces organization, we should maybe meet out there maybe every 2 years, you know, and just train.
At one time, he was going to train the police department out there. Yeah. A lot of stuff that was going to get done didn't get done, you know.
But that's why, but we can do it, though. That's what we're here for.
Well, it's a matter of if they're going to agree to it or not.
Yeah, but Vermont, but Vermont should be on the map. You know what I mean? Like, it should be a place, because it's a neutral place. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, you said injury, every level of them. You said at every level of injury, you could do something to adjust to that injury.
Yes. No matter what's wrong or what you can't do, all you have to do is capitalize on that. Okay, I can't do this now. So now I need to, how would you say? I want to get that word. What's that word when you can't do something one way, but you work it another way to do it, you know? I can't get it right now, you know?
Is it ambidextrous or something like that?
Whatever it is,
yeah.
I can't get it right now. But you capitalize on this thing, you know. Like he said before, okay, you're not jumping up in the air and doing a spinning roundhouse. Doc said he would turn his arm and strike the nerve between the shoulder and the neck. He said that has the same effect as axe kick. They said, I'm not spinning my foot to hit you. I'm standing right there, whop, and that's even better. So now the time I took the spin around, I can just whop you right there. And then he said body weight. Body weight accounts for a whole lot.
Now, okay, but let's use Doc as an example. His neck, his back, his knee. Okay, so his hand is coming in. So at those levels of injuries, could Doc still protect himself?
Yeah. Oh man, I just sit at the table. He throw a kick straight up in the air. He'd move around and stuff, just that sitting still. You know, like I know from my injuries now, from the car accident and the farm stuff. When you sit still, stuff gets bad. It pays to keep moving. If you ever notice, you see Doc doing the class, he starts doing stuff, and then as it builds up, then you see him getting hyper and more stuff happening.
Right.
Because he's moving. And he said the energy starts flowing. He said, when you hear me scream, yeah, but he said, I'm releasing energy. And that makes me feel good. And those things I was learning from him. He said, if you ever think you're scared and you feel that feeling in your stomach, he said, that's energy looking for somewhere to travel.
You said that Doc said that sanuces was given to him by God. Yeah,
that's what he said, and I believe it. He didn't get it from Mr. V, and Mr. V even admitted that he didn't get it from him. Where you come up with these kind of things? Where do you come up with stuff like that? He used to be on the floor and would create a technique right there off the top.
You know, in one of my interviews years ago, I said that sanuces was a revelation given to him. It was like sanuces was his revelation.
Yeah.
But it didn't come in a form of a holy book. It came in the form of an art, of a science, a martial science.
If you read the Old Testament in the Bible, he said, God traineth my hands for war and learneth my fingers for battle. And then go into where Doc says the person found the angel. He was talking about Professor James Sims at that time in Washington, D.C., and they was doing a tape over there. And he said he found his angel. He said, clap for him, you know. It's the spiritual, supernatural thing with this. The angels taught, if you read in the Old Testament and then there's books that they took out, the angels taught men how to do these things. They taught them crafts and different stuff, you know, and how to war.
Yeah. So Shihan, you said, next thing, you said you called him dad. Why did you call him dad?
Well, first off, when I first met him, I would say, I didn't know what to say. I say, Professor or Moses, whatever. And this one time he said, just call me Moses. Then he said, call me Professor. And then when we got real close, he said, you can call me Dad. He said, if I had a son, I wish he'd be just like you. And we did that for like about 30 years, you know. And he had, the love that's there is no joke, man. And I feel bad that I went there for him.
So good, bro. We're gonna move on. Professor V gave Doc his doctorate, and he said he was sorry. So doctorate means 10th degree, right?
Well, the doctorate, you have 10th degree, but Doc said after you've been a grandmaster for a certain amount of times and whatever accomplishment that goes with it, then you get doctorates. And he said Mr. V, and he spoke him about it, and Mr. gave it to him. He said,
wait a minute. So doctorate and 10th degree is not the same thing?
No, the doctorate is more higher than just being a 10th degree. Dr. Sanuces, you have Grandmaster 1, 2, and 3, then Supreme Master. So you have Grandmaster 1, Grandmaster 2, Grandmaster 3, and then Supreme Grandmaster. And Doc was changing it because you had systems that had 14 and 15 degree black belts. I was like, what is this? But it ain't going to be like with Sanuces, because you can take somebody that's a green belt, Sanuces, and whip a black belt or first or second or third degree black belt in another system, because Doc gave it raw and real and the right way. He would start some, as he said, with What they would make you take 5 years to get from them, he give it in 2. Why cheat that person? We got to save their life because the life you save may be your own. Why cheat them? He said, it's all the money. Why cheat that person? They got to defend themselves on the street. And then ego and big heads.
Shihan,
I can tell you this, there's more that love Doc than the ones that's with the two-faced snake stuff right now. There's a lot of us on the street that love him, and it wouldn't be wise to cross him. That's what I'm going to say. There's a lot of us on the street that love him. It wouldn't be wise to keep doing things that's being done and saying things that's being said. It really is not wise. That's all I'm going to say. And I'm not scared to say it because I'm not scared of nobody. It wouldn't be wise to keep saying that. Somebody might say stuff behind the camera and try to talk after this. Listen, you don't want to see some of we come get you, man. You be in a seminar, we come in there and light your ass up. You got to stop this mess, man. We all friends, we supposed to be family. There's people talking bad about him, making people don't respect him. The man done passed away. You hate him that much that it ain't good enough for you? He passed away? How evil can you be? Somebody passed away and you still talking wicked about him. And it's because of him that you eat.
Hey, Shihan, you said, Doc said, I give you what you went to the schools to get, but didn't get it.
And, a lot of y'all went to them. I give you. He said it one time, and I have it on. I think I got it on video on one of these here. He's talking to the people. He said, y'all went to them Aikido schools in certain places. He said, I'm giving you what you went to them schools to get, but you did.
And that's deep, man. But what about people who try to say that sanuces is Aikido, that Doc learned the Aikido and then just modify the Aikido?
That's cornball and that's bunk because sanuces. Now you got the jujitsu and the jujitsu. That is maybe who knows how many styles put together. Then Doc trained with him, and then Doc said Professor B used to send him to schools. So besides what Professor B was giving him, he was going other places and getting stuff like a sponge, sucking stuff up. And then, he put his twerk on it. So now it's something else. But here's what I got, but then here's something else. He always would, he said he would do it that way. So you would see elements of Aikido. You might see an element of a judo. He said he used the power of karate. Jujitsu is the base, but Pia, Larry striking, is going to get you in and out for whatever you need to do because the person frees, like in that video game of, what's that video game? Where they say finish him,
Street Fighter. Oh, Mortal Kombat. And
you see he would do something, whoop, and the person would freeze and they couldn't move.
Yeah.
That's what sanuces is. The Pia, you strike that nerve, the person is frozen. They can't do nothing. Now you got time to work on them.
Finish him. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a lot of elements of stuff. I've seen people on YouTube and different places making comments. What is that? Is that Aikido? Is that this or is that that? Because that's all that they know. So they see an element of something or something that look like it, but they don't know what they're looking at. Like Doc said, the person they knows not what they think they know.
You said something else, Shihan. You said, Doc said, when I walk in a room, the truth walks in with me.
Oh,
you don't have to find the truth. You have to be the truth.
Oh, yes. Ask Soki-san. He'll verify that for me. And he'll tell you. Ask Soki-san. He's no slouch neither. People talking stuff about him, about who match with what. He can get down. He fought in tournaments. He's a Vietnam veteran. Don't think like he's some kind of slouch. He's not. There's people that's doing talking. They should shut up.
Shihan, have you seen the Doc Radio logo? Not the Doc magazine, but the Doc Radio.
I probably did right now. My mind is spinning right now because I'm very hyper thinking about that, I'm very hyper.
But the Doc Radio logo has the periodic table because Soki Hassan always told me that sanuces was the element of creation. And so when I designed that Doc Radio logo, I put the elements in the periodic table because each element represents the elements of creation. Mm-hmm.
Well, that goes to say with Soki Hassan is saying what coincides with what Grandmaster Shem was saying, the intellectual creation.
Right. And so now when I also designed that logo, it was two steps to it. It was that sanuces is the element of creation in that it's the basis of creation. But when you study sanuces, it also perpetuates an element within you to create your own new element.
Mm-hmm.
And so
it's the gift that keeps on giving.
And so now we have a new element that I become aware of, which is now called Sunafi, which stands for the supernatural fighter.
Sunafi root.
Sunafi root. And so for me, Sunafi root is another element that came out of the sanuces element. So tell me that.
The interpretation of sanuces, which means we kept telling people that this thing is mostly spiritual, and without that you have nothing. So when I say spirit to spirit, my spirit is facing yours, and whatever I got here all in me is facing whatever all you got in you. You understand? And I ain't planning to do nothing, but I'll defend all the way, and I'll offend even. But it's all about keep learning. I can get on the floor and do stuff that I never even did before.
Now, Sunafi root, is this a system, or is this
that's my style, and that's what I got from sanuces.
Okay, so tell the world. You got a platform.
Well, I'm telling the world it's similar to kind of what, in a way, like Bruce Lee saying, it's a way without being a way. You understand? I don't plan nothing. I can get on the floor and I just work from right there. I don't think this is what I'm gonna do. Whatever comes out at that time is what's coming out. Same way in the street fight. But now, also, it's a combination of it's a beautiful thing of variating and combining. You showed me one technique, now I'm gonna do the variation. Now I'm gonna do the combination. I'm gonna take that, mix it with that, and I keep going from there. Same thing as sanuces, but without planning it. Let's just free fight, so to speak. Do this thing, but with control. You understand where I'm coming from, brother? Let's do this, and let's see what we get from it, because I'm gonna get something, and surely you are. So
you know, Brooklyn has always been known as the fighters, man. Brooklyn is known for the gunplay, but also Brooklyn is also known for the hands. I mean, straight up and down. But the thing is you know, when I think about a street fighter, just for me, I always think about a cat that, a cat that's nice with them hands. So how does Sanusi Rule deal with a boxer, a guy that's real nice with his hands?
Somebody that's nice with their hands, you take their legs out. You can't hit me if you can't stand. And every chance that I get, when you stick that arm out, I have to try to destroy that limb. Same science of sanuces, destroy that limb. But then, like the pier will get you in and out no matter what. So you don't even have to deal with the legs, because Doc said basically with sanuces is head, neck, or chest. So if I step to the side or whatever it is, and I strike the carotid artery, or I strike the vagus nerve, or whatever it may be, or the temples, have it go. The moment that you freeze from the shock, you say once the shock is applied, then I can go into what I need to do. It ain't meaning that I'm going to win all the time if I ain't a dirty fighter. Like Doc said, who you feel sorry for, him or you? So I learned how to go ahead and dig in that eye, snatch that lip, whatever it might be. Break that collarbone. It don't take that much, man. Stomp him when he's on the floor. Why you being like that? Well, first off, I want to go home. Second off, if he get up, I don't know what he gonna do to me. Like Doc said, them holes that you put people in so much pain, He said, you want to hurt him, you don't want to make him mad, you put a guy in one of them holes and they get loose. They might fucking kill you because they so angry from being in that pain all that time.
Hey, you know what? Shihan, I got 3 last questions, and we're going to end this broadcast. 2 of those questions is personal for me, and then 1 is for you. So the 2 that's personal, remember when I was telling you how, like, the guy tried to put me down in a gang, initiated me into a gang, and I had to fight my way out of it? Now, this happened 27 years ago. I was 15, but it's still sometimes play in my mind. And my first personal question is, why do you think he did that to me? Like, we never talked about that. Like why Like, why do you think he did that?
You know, a lot of the times the person that been bullied becomes the bully. How many people did that to him before he got to you? He didn't want to be a victim no more.
And then my next question is, if I would have never like resisted those guys or try to do what I did, what do you think would have happened if I would have just followed those guys?
Oh, you got two things that would happen. One, they would have kept coming, or two, they'd have moved on to the next person. But those two things ain't guaranteed, but those are the most two likely possible. You know, really, actually three. Somebody would take them out. And sometime God will move somebody out your way before you even have to do it yourself. I'll bear witness to that.
My last question, Shihan, spirit to spirit, what does that mean?
Spirit to spirit, like I say, when I face you, the real me. Now they say when the body dies, your spirit still lives and goes to heaven, right? But your spirit is what runs things in the martial arts. The doc say it's 70-80% spirit. Some people say 20% mind, body, whatever. When I face off with the person, whether it be good or bad, but when I'm talking to you from the true me. You understand? This is me talking from God. My spirit speaking to yours. Now you hear eye to eye, that's in the natural. Spirit to spirit is the supernatural. I got some of what Doc was saying when he said it's mostly spirit, and without spirituality, you have nothing. So it's not deviating from there. It's a revelation from there and gives a manifestation.
And it's interesting you said that because I think it was Grandmaster Anti-Muhammad, that interview I did with him. I think he did say that Doc was moving into spirit to spirit.
I didn't hear that. I didn't hear that thing. Maybe I'll look it up later on when I get a chance.
Yeah. I don't know if he said it quite spirit, but I know I think he was saying that it was moving towards the spiritual. Mm-hmm. And so when you say spirit to spirit, it's like, you know how Professor B every 10 years he would keep changing the name of his art.
Yeah.
So I felt like Doc was following the footsteps of his sanuces. Sanuces eye to eye, sanuces heart to heart. And then the spirit to spirit, which is what you represent, was going to be the next progression.
Yes. And with that, Doc did how Professor B did. Okay, certain people had their own system. Here, I leave this gift with you. This is a gift from sanuces to you. Now you have your own system, but don't leave sanuces out. Huh? Here go another one. They just want to represent sanuces here. Here goes another one. They want to, like Doc said, he changed the name. You say, well, what's different? You want to block out where you got it from? So he would give the gifts, but he did like Professor B said, they only fooling themselves if they think that they got something better than me or that they don't need me no more. So he would just let stuff slide. He would just let it go. He learned that from Professor B. He said it's how not to. Humility is the best and greatest thing he got from Professor B. And I saw it before he passed away, because some people they wouldn't be here right now if he didn't go that route with the disrespect that was going on behind the back and all that. Nobody blatantly in his face said that. There wasn't no thing like that. Nobody blatantly stood up in his face. That would have murdered you right there in front of everybody. He'd have murdered you.
Hey, Shihan, I want to salute and I want to thank you for giving me this interview. When I edit this, I'm gonna update the cover. I'm gonna keep everything on the cover, but I'm gonna put Spirit to Spirit on the top, and I'm also gonna put a Doc Magazine 10th anniversary, because this is our 10th anniversary, and I'm gonna put collector's edition, and then I'm gonna put these videos together, and then give me like a couple of days, and then I'll take this stuff, edit it, put it up, and boom, that's what it is.
For the interview with me, for being that my mother's not here, as a favor to me, it would be good for me if you put in memory of my mother, Louise Pack.
Okay, hold on. Let me write this down. All right, spell Louise.
Louise.
Louise. And then spell Pack.
Yes, my mother's right next to me. You see the urn?
Okay.
My mother's right here with me everywhere I go.
A memory of Miss Louise Pack, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, brother. So I want to thank you, and I give you you can close us out.
I close it out with also, we spoke about Doc and we spoke about other people. Grandmaster V wasn't no joke neither. There's certain stories I won't get into, but then, there's some stuff that Professor V, when he was at war, he took some people out in their sleep, multiple by himself, about 13 people. Here in New York, he got busy and did things. There's a lot of stories. Professor V wasn't no joke. There's some people say, oh, he was so nice and sweet. He wasn't no joke. Professor V put in work. He was a vicious man when he needed to be. That's when he got older. If you don't notice his 1994 interview, he said, now you don't want to kill no more. This and this and that. He got older and he wanted to lay back with stuff, So Professor V was no joke neither. I'm not going to end this interview without picking him up. I didn't train with him, but his presence, you could feel power in that room that you don't feel from nobody else. When there was an event that Professor V and Doc was in there, you walk in that room, you felt the power and the energy. I don't feel no more going around anybody. That's not there, So that was God-given people. God sent them here. Visitation. That was a visitation from God. Them two put people on their paths, many people, to do a lot of things. And Doc got a lot of letters from jail too, so they could save people in the penitentiary. These men were put there for certain things and certain reasons. So now you have Little John here left to put people in with the fighting. To like Little John, I heard him say, Little John say, the guy, you can do all the techniques you want, but how can you incorporate it into your fight? So he's left here to do that, to help people incorporate this stuff in their fight. So that's all that is. Now, Grandmaster Anthony ain't no daggone joke neither. Doc loved, and it ain't taken away from nobody, and I hope nobody don't feel no way, but if they do, whatever, Doc loved to see Soki Hassan and Grandmaster Anthony work out. He called them Mutt and Jeff. When he saw them two work out, if you had to see him sit back, and he just loved it.
Wait, what did he call them? What did he call them?
He called them Mutt and Jeff. I don't know, like if
Mutt
that was
and Jeff. You know what? I gotta call both of them. I'm gonna get in contact with Soki Hassan and Grandmaster Anthony, and I want to call a magazine called Mutt and Jeff, and I want to see if they will agree to do this interview with me.
But that's what Doc called him. Now his nickname personally for Anthony was, he first called him Butterbean. He said he went from a Butterbean to a big Lima bean, And then the last nickname that I remember for Soki Hassan when we was at Professor Stone's school, he called Soki Hassan David Ruffin. And Soki Hassan, everybody was laughing. And I'm answering to it, He said, David Ruffin,
Hey, but I want to get those two. I want to get Soki Hassan and Grandmaster. He changed his name.
He changed to Abdul Aziz.
Grandmaster Abdul Aziz. I want to get them. I want to get both of them on an interview at the same time.
You got to. God loved them two. Them two. Out of his top students, he loved to see them two go at it.
Yeah, I'm gonna get them both. And what did you say? You said, tell me to the Muffin what?
He called them Mutt and Jeff. I think maybe that was a cartoon or a show from from decades ago or something, because it sounds like it. But he called it Mutt and Jeff. He said he loved to see. He loved to see Robert Crossan, Grandmaster Robert Crossan. He loved to see him when he did the act like he was a woman and put the belt around his head and then have the guy attack him and do stuff. He said, look, Gina, look, he's doing it. He loved different ones of his students. He loved to see Grandmaster Bill do stuff. He said, look, see, technician, the legalist of this thing, he can correct. He had each one of his certain students, he loved the gift that they had or what he imparted, and then what their own personal thing was. And he would sit back and enjoy it, and they showed certain people, not them, or if it was them at the time, I don't know. Like he said they didn't want to be critiqued. So like if he critiqued somebody and said, so don't do this or don't do that, he said they got mad. He said, well, why would you get mad? So that was his thing, the last thing that, we was discussing. He said there was a lot of his students, like when they got to a certain level, they didn't want him to critique them. So whatever, You don't have him here to critique you now. So go back to the tapes, like Warner Wolf used to say. Let's go to the videotapes. Go to the videotapes. You don't got him here now. So that's all I have to say. And Mama Gina feel better, and please call her, y'all. You and your other brother that was up there. Yeah. Call her and talk to her.
I will, brother.
As I can say right now, you know. Heart to heart, to the wall and back, spirit to spirit. God bless you.
Spirit to spirit, brother. Us.
Us.